This tip right here, you'll want to watch this video to the end, because this tip right here, I'm telling you, most people do not ask this question. Most people do not even think to ask this question, but you need to ask this question. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video, I'm gonna share with you the questions that I asked my loctician or Sisterlocks consultant before I decided to choose one, as well as what to expect at your consultation. So if you want to learn more about that, then make sure you keep on watching this video. My name is Sarah, and I create content around my Sisterlocks, as well as lifestyle and travel vlogs and some advice videos as well. So if that's something you're interested in, I would highly suggest that you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss when my videos come out. If you're interested in more information on my hair and stats, check out the description box below. So let me jump right in. You want to make sure that you're choosing the right person for you. Asking questions, getting a sense of the person's vibe, their professionalism really helps in the final decision. Take your time trying to find the right person. This is a time investment, financial investment, and it is a lifestyle change. I love my locks. So happy I did it with who I did it with. So we don't want no horror stories over here. We want to make sure you have a great experience. The first thing I did was I went online. Honestly, I went online. I did check the Sisterlocks website, but I'm gonna tell you straight, like I did in previous videos, it is not up to date. So your loctician's name might not be in the registry. It might not be there, or it might not be up to date as to what level she is. You might see her name there and it says trainee when it's been years and now she's a consultant or whatever, an ambassador, whatever the case may be. Unfortunately, Sisterlocks doesn't really update their system the way they should. I hope that changes in the future, but for now, if you go to the website, I would advise you to just go there to get knowledge. It's really good to know certain things before you go into a consultation, because then if people are trying to tell you foolishness, you're like, no. That's not right. And then you know right off the bat that you don't want to deal with that person, or if you decide to deal with that person, you know the reasons why. Although consultants are there to give you information and to give you knowledge about the process, it is your responsibility to do some research first before you go out and ask anybody. Because the last thing I want you to do is to go to a consultation and this is the first time you've really like dug into Sisterlocks and figured out like what it is, what it looks like, all these different things. Like I want you to have a good foundation of knowledge for yourself. And the questions that you're asking the consultants is to get a sense of if you trust them in your head. There are people out there that unfortunately they don't mean you well. They just want to take your money, and if you don't know things, these are the times when you can get taken advantage of. You need to know your stuff. Once you've done your research, now you can go online. I went to Instagram. I literally typed in Sisterlocks plus my city, which would be Toronto in this sense. And anybody, whether it be a consultant, a trainee, an ambassador, or a client who has ever used the hashtag, all their posts basically come up. So it really helped me to find people in my city who do Sisterlocks. And I go into, I think in my 3rd month update, I go into how to find the consultant deeper, but I'm only telling you this part so that you can segue into now that you're at the consultation, you found the person and everything. But go watch that video. I'll link it in the cards or down below. Now that you've found your consultant, you should be asking some preliminary questions before you even go to this consultation, because the consultation is like interview number 2, right? Interview number 1 is you online asking them in the DM some questions. Some of these questions, for example, can be, how much do you charge? Ask it out front. You don't want to know when you get there or when they're in your hair how much it's going to cost. You need to know up front, because this is an investment. You also want to verify where are they located. Maybe on their Instagram page or on the Sisterlocks website or wherever you found them, their information might be out of date, or they might be moving and they haven't changed that information yet. In the DM or the email or the text or the phone call, you can ask them if they have any pictures of their previous work. Please understand though, some of the more seasoned Sisterlocks consultants who weren't necessarily on social media when they first started and now they're not necessarily gonna have pictures of their work. What you can do, that same technique to find a Sisterlocks consultant, you can also find clients. Reach out to them. That's actually one of the ways that's the main way that I found my loctician. There was someone on here on Instagram who happens to be from Toronto, which was like so slim. I found people all over the place, different parts of Africa, the States, the UK, wherever, but Toronto was rough. So to see someone in Toronto, her hair wasn't exactly like mine, but I loved how it looked. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, and she's raving about it. She documented her process, which really helped me to see what it looked like in the beginning versus now. She raves about her person, and what helped is that she tagged them. That's how I found my loctician initially. It was through that person. Now, if she didn't tag her loctician, I would have just DM'd her and be like, hey girl, your hair is gorgeous. I saw your journey on Instagram. I'm here in Toronto as well, and I'm looking for a loctician, and I would love to know who did your hair, what was your experience like, etc., etc. No one has been like, don't talk to me or whatever. They've all been super helpful. This community is amazing. They're so warm, friendly, and just welcoming. So don't be afraid to reach out to someone. Reach out to me, reach out to anybody. Look for people in your city and reach out. Want to know if a person is actually available to establish your hair in the time frame, because some of them are really busy. They might not be able to establish it for another few months. Can you wait, or would you prefer to use someone else? That's a decision you have to make. Now into the actual consultation. Ask again how much they should charge. When you asked in the DMs how much it was gonna cost, they probably couldn't have given you the exact amount, because most locticians will actually measure your hair. The base rate starts at, say, like, and please don't quote me, because this depends on your loctician as well as your area and everything like that. But I was being quoted anywhere between $700 to $900 base for like the first six inches of hair, or 4 inches of hair, something like that. And then every inch above that was charged at a different rate depending on the loctician. It could have been $25 per inch, $50, $100, whatever. So just know that you're gonna get your final when they measure your hair when you come in. And based on that measurement, that's the price they're gonna give you. But knowing the base going in helps. Knowing how much they charge for every inch after that helps. The reason why I tell you to ask again is because you wanna make sure that they're consistent. You wanna make sure that the price that they gave you when you were chatting is the price that they're giving you now. It shouldn't have changed unless this consultation was like months apart. Once they've measured your hair, they've taken a look at your hair, they're looking at the length, they're looking at the health, they talk to you about what you're looking for, you get to show them your inspiration again, all of that stuff. You need to ask them these questions. And I need to look at my phone for this. This is just to make sure that the person who is doing your locks is not claiming to be Sisterlocks consultant or whatever, but they're not. Now, some people are very bold and some people are sly, but this is why asking the questions will help you get to the bottom of things. So one of the questions you can ask them is, can I see the tool or the tools that you use to establish and retighten the locks? You will see it online. If I can find a picture, I'll insert it here. But if someone does your Sisterlocks, there's only one tool that they should be using to establish your hair and retighten it. There's two versions of it. There's like a long one and a shorter one. It's a white tool. You can't mix it up. If they're using a crochet needle or any other thing that they created or made up, I would tell you to tread lightly, because I think it's very unfortunate when people are out here charging people Sisterlocks prices and they don't actually know how to do Sisterlocks. It's sad and it's unfortunate, and I don't want you to get into that, get scammed. They pull out any other tool but that. You don't even have to correct them. You don't have to say anything. This knowledge, this experience is for you, okay? It's for you, so that you can make an educated decision as to whether you want to use this person or not. Now, if they show you a different tool and they have an explanation as to why they use this versus this, and you trust that and you feel like your intuition is saying, okay, cool, we're good with that, and you want to proceed, then you can proceed. But these are why you need to ask the question. So you're gonna ask them what tool they used, and you wanna see it. Like, let them show it to you. And just be like, you know, this is my first time or everything. I'd love to just see the tool, like what does it look like or whatever. okay? Just do it. Be a little investigative, okay? Now that they've seen your hair, you wanna ask them how long, obviously everyone's different, but approximately how long does it take when you've had other people with my length of hair, my density of hair, about how long do you think it'll take? Again, don't use this as a way to gauge how long it's actually gonna take for you. This is more so just to get insight. Because if you went online and you saw people with the amount of hair you have doing the same like style, the same length, the same thick, like the same like size of lock as you, and everywhere you go, people are saying, oh, it took me 25 hours, it took me 30 hours, it took me 23 hours, like around that range. And then your person says, oh, it'll take me 12 hours. Or, oh, it'll take me 50 hours or something. Like it's so low or so high compared to the average. Be careful. Because either A, they haven't done enough heads. They haven't established enough hairs. Like hairs. They haven't established enough locks, and they may be saying they're a consultant when in reality they're a trainee, but they want to charge you like they are a consultant. 2, if they're able to do it in 12 hours and you have the amount of hair you have, or less than the time that most people take, be a little bit wary, because it might mean that they're not really taking the time to do the grid properly. And you'll have issues down the road if they don't do the grid properly. You know what I mean? You just don't want that headache. It might sound all fine and dandy, like, oh my gosh, 12 hours, great. Other people are saying 20, 30 hours, but you can do it. No, like this thing takes time. You want someone who is fast, yes, but is going to take the time to do it right. So remember, you're going to a bunch of different consultations, so you'll be able to compare and contrast the answers that you got from all the people that you saw, okay? This is a great question like to ask your Sisterlocks consultant, and it's more so just to get an idea as to why they started and what they, you know, why they got into it and what they love about Sisterlocks. I literally asked my consultant, how long have you been doing Sisterlocks and why did you choose to become a Sisterlocks practitioner? My consultant is an ambassador. So one of the reasons why I asked this is because this will give me an indication as well as to how long she's been doing it. You don't become an ambassador in 2 years, 3 years. You've been doing this a very long time for Sisterlocks to consider you an ambassador. My loctician has been doing this for 20 plus years. I vetted her from other hairstylists within the Toronto natural hair community who can vouch for her. Her clients can, like, it's all there. But aside from hearing it from her, I wanted to just know why she started, why she wanted to do it. And here's what you're gonna look for. If you have a Sisterlocks consultant who is telling you the reason why they started, but then they go into this thing where they start bashing Sisterlocks and, oh, but it's so unorganized and da-da-da-da, be careful. Because they might not even realize, but subconsciously there is a little bit of like something there, resentment, hate, anger, whatever you want to call it, towards Sisterlocks, the community, the founder, whatever it is. But do you really want that kind of energy around you? Do you want that person in your hair? If they're telling you this now, imagine when they start to get to know you and really open up more, what more they'll say about Sisterlocks. Because let's be real, there are a lot of people out there doing Sisterlocks solely because of the money. It happens in every profession, so we're not gonna shame anybody, but they're solely doing it because of the money. They see that, oh my gosh, people are paying $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to get this hairstyle. Yeah, let's hop on that. They're not invested in taking care of your hair. So this will tell you, why did they want to start? Why did they get into it in the first place? Depending on the status that they're at, whether they're a trainee, consultant, ambassador, etc., just to give you a little bit more peace of mind, especially if they say they're a consultant and all that stuff, you can ask them, like, how many Sisterlocks installs have they done? Just hear what they have to say. If they stutter, like, remember, a lot of these questions is just to get to know them and to see, like, are you who you really say you are? And do you really enjoy what you're doing? You can feel people's energy when they're lying to you, when they're holding back, when they're trying to finesse you. You can feel it. You can tell they're fidgety. They're like imming, like it just, I don't really know how to describe it, but you'll know. Holes will start to form in the foundation if the foundation isn't solid, right? And then you'll be able to tell who to pick. The other question you should ask is, what's included in your establishment? Sisterlocks is very clear that your consultation, your establishment, and your first retie is included in your overall package. The price you pay, boom, that's that. If you are being quoted one price for your consultation, another price for your establishment, and then they're trying to charge you for your first retie, it's not right. I will give you my honest story on, because I like to be transparent. Her consultation fee, it was $50, but it's not included in the package. So for example, the establishment and the retie are included in that price that I paid, but I had to pay that $50 separate whether I decided to go with her or not. Now, it didn't sit well with me at first. I'm gonna tell you straight up, because what I read online and the other consultants, their consultation fee was XYZ amount, whatever. And if you decided to choose them to do the establishment, it was a part of, so it went towards the overall balance. For probably a week or so, I was conflicted. I was like, I don't know if I like the fact that she's charging separate for the consultation. I went back and forth for a little bit. I thought about a lot of things. Like I thought about the fact, well, gosh, she's been doing this for a really long time. This is her time. So whether a person decides to do the establishment or not, I can understand this fee, $50, being a fee for her time. But because this is the way Sisterlocks says it's supposed to be, I didn't like the fact that she was going against that in that sense. And I was willing to walk away. The reason why I didn't is because I thought about it on a grander scheme, and I thought to myself, this $50 that I'm paying extra compared to what I'm getting, is it really bothering me that much that I need to not use her at all? And at the end of the day, I chose to continue forward with her. I'm gonna tell you this. If your intuition is telling you not to, then don't. My intuition wasn't sending up any red flags about why she was charging that extra. And as a businesswoman, I totally understood, and I was like, you know what? I still really, really want to do this with her. I trust her, and I love her vibe, her space, and all of that. So I moved forward. If someone's charging you extra for those things and it doesn't sit well with you, I say don't do it. I also wanted to know what was included in my starter kit. Now, this is one of those trick questions because I already knew what was included in my starter kit, but I wanted to see what she was gonna tell me. She showed me the box. She didn't open it because there's like a tape on it, and if you look back at my first video for Sisterlocks, you'll see that little tape. So she didn't want to break that seal, but she showed me the box and she told me what was inside of it. So I already knew. But I just wanted, again, to see, like, if you really are a Sisterlocks trained person who's doing this, let's see if you really have all your ducks in a row. Okay. A question that, here's another reason why I didn't choose the first loctician that I went to for the consultation versus this one, another little story. This video's ended up being way longer than I thought, I'm sorry, but I need to tell you these things because it's important. I asked her if she would be doing the establishment as well as like the reties. Would it be done by her or by someone else? So here's why. There's a lot of stuff going on the internet where people are talking about how for their establishment they had multiple people in their head. I understand for times wise, if you have 2 or 3 people working on your Sisterlocks at the same time, you can be out of there in a day maybe, right? Okay, cool. No one wants to sit down for 2-3 days. I totally understand it. But what I also heard were a lot of horror stories about people who had multiple people in their heads doing their Sisterlocks, and one side was different from the other. And I didn't want that. I watched one girl on YouTube, I watched her story, I felt it for her. But in the end, there was like a patch in the back, at the middle of her head and to the back, that was just off. Her grid was off. And as time went by and the reties were happening, it was more and more noticeable, to the point where her loctician, and it was her loctician that actually pointed this out. She didn't even, I don't think she was the one that noticed it. Her loctician noticed it, her main loctician. And her loctician felt bad because she vetted this person. She had this person helping her and working on this girl's head, and it didn't work out. So she told her, okay, I'll redo that section on my own for you. Obviously, she's not gonna charge her, that's a given. But it's not just about that, it's about the time, because this woman had to spend days combing out like almost this much hair out of the back of her head, combing them out herself at home so that it wouldn't take as much time when she went to the salon. And then she had to come back and she did the establishment again on that part of her hair. What's the saying about taking shortcuts? Like, just sit and get the thing done. Who cares if it takes you 2 days, 3 days? Wouldn't you rather get it done properly and right and know that it's done and you're finished and you don't have to worry than to have multiple people in your head and not knowing what the heck is going on back there? Don't do that to yourself. If your person says that that's an option, which my first consultant told me, and I cringed immediately, I was like, no. If you decide that you want to go with them, just make it clear to them that no, I would prefer if you were the only one in my head for both my establishment and my reties, and then that's it. If they say no, when they do establishments, they prefer to do people or whatever, and you don't feel comfortable, that's a wrap. As easy as that. All right, now this question right here is a question that is so ridiculously important, and I'm pretty sure most people who have locks didn't ask. And most people getting locks aren't even thinking to ask. What is your policy for handling customer dissatisfaction? Because I know you're thinking, okay, I get these locks done. Investment, time, money, all that stuff, they're done. There's no way, just like when you go to like you get your hair braided or twisted or whatever. I know there's been a couple of times when I've paid for a hairstyle, braids, twists, whatever, and I was like, I don't like this. But they already did it. They already spent the time. We used the hair, money, and I just paid them and left. I know that. But this was different. I was investing a lot of money in this, and this was a like permanent hairstyle for me. I needed to know if I don't like them, not because I just don't like them. That's why I told you to do your research. Do your research on the locks that you like, the locks that you'd like to have, the maintenance, what life is like with locks at all the different stages before you commit, because customer dissatisfaction because you didn't do your research and now they're on your head and you don't like them is very different from customer dissatisfaction because the loctician messed up something, or they didn't do the size that you guys had agreed upon, or whatever the case may be, okay? It's very different, so know that. I needed to know her policy. And she basically told me, you know what, it's very rare, but yeah, if something happens and you're not satisfied with how they turned out based on like my work, then yeah, we'll redo them if you want to redo them. And I was like, all right, cool, good. And that's at no extra cost to me, correct? And she said yes. These are conversations you need to have. That is it for, yeah, your questions. Honestly, after you finish asking the questions, the consultation is pretty much done. You have a couple of options. Either go home and think about it a little bit more, or you can book your establishment right then and there with the person if you're like, yep, this is who I want to go with. Take your time, you're in no rush. Like, look at the place, vet the person, go home, really sit with all the answers they gave you and the questions you ask and decide, is this the person I want to do this? Because it is such a beautiful journey. I do not have any regrets about who I chose, when I did it, how much I paid, how long it took to do it. I love, you see this? Do you see these? I love my locks. Love my locks. I love seeing them grow. We are at month 5 as I'm recording this video, and I love it. So far, this is my favorite month, but yeah, if you guys want to see more of my lock journey, I have a whole playlist, so make sure you go to the channel and check it out, subscribe so you don't miss when the next videos come out. And I think the next video that I'm gonna put out is, drumroll, how to prepare for your establishment. Yeah, I'm gonna give you all my tips on that, because my establishment, even though it took 3 days, it was a breeze. Okay? Talk to me in the comments. Talk to the rest of the community. The comments were so welcoming and warm and friendly here. Thank you guys for all your love and support and all of that good stuff. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.